Three, two, one. This might be the end of YouTube as we know it. Video games are for the rich. The world is out to get you, me, and us. What happens now? These are words I never thought I would say, thoughts I never thought I would have, but it's happening right in front of our eyes, and has been happening for a long time. What is going on, YouTube and Kick? My name is TheTrueAura, and this is not an April Fool's video. By the way, this is very serious. And the other night, I came across a couple videos. Links are in the description if you would like to see them yourself, if you haven't already. These videos talked about how YouTube is being sued for not warning us about how incredibly addicting it can be, or rather, was programmed to be. Same with apps like Instagram, as well as another video talking about how video games are becoming a luxury only for the rich. And today, I want to talk about these topics. So the first video I want to talk about is titled, YouTube just lost a massive lawsuit by Adam Ivy. This video brings to light how a jury ruled that YouTube and Instagram are defective products, not because of what people are posting on them, but because of how they were designed. If you couldn't tell already, this is a very big deal for both creators and viewers alike. So, let's get into the nitty-gritty here, right? A 20-year-old woman sued Meta and Google, so Instagram and YouTube. She started using YouTube when she was 6, and she started using Instagram when she was 9. She said that these platforms messed her up. Things like depression, anxiety, body image issues, and addiction to social media that still affect her daily life as an adult. Things I'm sure a lot of us can relate to, especially, with the way we grew up and everything. And the jury said that Meta and YouTube were both neglected on how they designed their platforms, that they knew that their product was dangerous, that they didn't warn anybody, claiming most of these platforms' features were deliberately built to be addictive. The companies knew it and chose profits over protecting children, or anyone for that matter. Now let me ask you this. Are you surprised? Are you relieved? Are you confused to know this? Let me know your thoughts below, because I am both surprised and somewhat relieved personally. Now, this might be sad to hear, but this is exactly what happened to cigarettes back in the day. Companies knowingly designed an addictive product, marketed them to kids, and hid what they actually knew about the dangers. I, for one, am a victim of this myself. And I am not just talking about, the whole vape and, the whole vape industry and whatnot. But I started using YouTube and apps as a kid. Started making content in 2013 when I was just 12 to 13 years old. I'm sure most of you, this story is the same as well. We are a generation who grew up on the internet and with phones. And this explains why the internet is full of rage-baiting, hate, negativity, a lot more than positivity. The internet pushes out what people engage with. If a post on Instagram makes you depressed, you watch for longer. Then more videos as you start to doom scroll, trying to find something to cheer you up. They know this, so doom scrolling becomes this never-ending loop. If a post makes you upset, you leave a comment. It gives you more of those posts, so you continue to comment, repeating the cycle. If that doesn't sound scary, I don't know what does. Now, I'm not literally saying this is the end of YouTube or Instagram as a whole, but I am saying this is the start of the end of how we know and use these platforms. I've been making content on YouTube for 13 years, which is pretty much half my entire life at this point, and I love making content. But the reality of the situation hits very deep for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you as well. I can't help but feel used, almost like a pawn, I was lied to as a kid to feed this beast because it could bring people joy and entertainment and, help them smile or something like that. But in reality, it has buried those things below a wave of uploads or posts that are feasting off people's emotions, addiction, and overall well-being. Now, I am not one to talk about drama often. I like to stay out of things like this if it doesn't involve me. But this is a massive deal, okay? For content creators, this means we need to focus more than ever on giving value from our content, like real value. And for viewers, this means they now have a lack of trust towards content or social media as a whole if they didn't already. It really makes you think how long the world has been after all of us. Did you know about this recent story? How did it affect you after finding this out? Let me know. I really want to hear your opinions on the matter, Again, you can find the link to this specific video I watched on this subject with the link in the description. And speaking about companies doing shady things, let's talk about video games next. That's right, not even people who play video games to mostly have an escape from reality are safe from concerning company choices. I came across another video right after that one, titled Gaming is Now for the Rich by Legendary Drops. You've probably already seen it. This video starts off by saying, imagine being blamed for not having enough when they're the ones that are making everything too expensive to buy. It's now gotten to the point where the price to just live, let alone buy a video game, is getting out of the reach of damn near everyone. Now, I'm sure you already know, but the prices of video games and etc. have been going up for years now. And I think the worst part is that these companies say that it is inevitable. None of this is necessary, and they are all lying to you. Now, this all started during 2019 to 2020, when video games companies saw a massive spike of players playing games because, well, we were all stuck inside. You know, these companies were making more than they could ever dream of. And that's right, they used us and our situation to take advantage of us. And these price increases are only getting worse to this day. Now, I think this hits so hard because console gaming was already the cheaper option for lower income households, and now they're being cut out of the picture entirely, so that they can focus on those like 16%, maybe more, of people with higher income. But let's be honest, most people with high income aren't playing video games. It just makes no sense to me. Like, I was making it harder to afford video games and consoles, causing there to be less people buying new games. How is that supposed to increase sales? This is a surefire way to destroy their entire brand's future. Now ask yourself this, okay? What is going to happen to people who use this as an escape from reality? What's going to happen to them, okay? For most of us, myself included, video games have been a means to escape reality for moments of time, to focus on something else, to set goals, to solve puzzles, to explore new, thriving worlds, and, go on adventures. And for me personally, video games have been an outlet for me. My life hasn't been good for most of my life. I lost my mom, who adopted me at a young age. My dad, who adopted me, became aggressive and abusive after that happened. Video games helped me take the edge off a bit, to help feel emotions, to live through stories, sometimes even to impact my life as a whole. And I think this next part is true for a lot of us as well. But if I didn't spend a lot of my time playing video games, or creating content, I would have lost my sanity a long time ago. Hell, I probably would have become a 15 or 16-year-old father, getting into crime, or drugs, or God knows what else. And I mean, I smoke and stuff, but that's a story for another time. And spoiler alert, it happened because I was forced to be outside almost every day till the sun went down, and found myself hanging out with the wrong groups of people who very well did not have good intentions in mind whatsoever. Honestly, if it wasn't for video games and making content, I'm not even sure I'd still be alive to this day. I don't care how depressing that sounds, or how much of a no life I have according to some people, but I'd rather be inside, enjoying playing a video game for content, or as a kid, when I played games for myself, than to be outside getting into the wrong situation that could alter my life or end it. Is that so wrong? These companies seem to think it is. So I ask, again, what happens to these people when the industry just cuts them off completely? Those kids and young adults in not good living environments will fall into the wrong groups of people and end up in bad situations that could alter their entire life as a whole, all because they couldn't just sit down for a few hours on a Friday night to focus on something else. Then what happens? Crime goes up, probably. Youth deaths go up. Oh, but it's okay. We'll just keep raising prices again and again. Both the links to these videos will be in the description. If you want to watch the full conversations, I highly recommend it. It is 100% worth your time. It is very clear from these two topics alone that the world is out for us. And I think my 13 years on YouTube and my story from ages 13 to 25 make that very clear. And I'm just going to free flow the rest of this here. Just to sort of, talk more about that. But I mean, it's crazy. Okay, the situation is so crazy, and I can talk more about it on how long this has been going on for, which is probably before most of us were even born, honestly. But like, I can talk about how, like, you know, McDonald's, for example, did like the same mentality. They come out with these food items, these products, if you will, that were not like engineered to be like good for us at all. They were designed to be addictive, affordable, so you keep coming back for more, and to not like satisfy you, so you want more afterwards. It's just crazy, and the things they put into this kind of stuff is just not good for anyone ever. And I don't want to get into it, but it's just it's very clear to me nowadays, especially during like COVID times and after COVID times, that most people in this world do not have your best interest at heart. Okay, and there's like this one quote from a song that I remember where it's like, not everyone in life has a halo. There's something along those lines. And I just always think to myself every time I hear that, it's like, yeah, some people don't. But at this point, most people don't have a halo. Most people don't care what happens to you. Most people don't even care about you existing in general. But people don't give a fuck about me existing. It's just part of life. And I find a lot of these companies have just been getting away with this kind of thing for way too damn long. Okay? Like most companies are doing this sort of thing. And honestly, me trying to like create my own like online business for like building websites and stuff kind of makes me like not want to do that anymore. I don't want to be put in the same position as these companies that just take advantage of everybody. You know, I want to deliver a service and a product that's actually beneficial for people. Mostly other businesses, preferably, but I want to give like actual value to these people instead of just like taking advantage of them to give them something that they need, you know? Like, I'm really willing to do the work itself for free, and they just pay like the monthly maintenance fees. So that way, if they don't like the outcome, then they don't have to pay for it. You know, like it's just crazy that the world has been out to get us for so long, and you know, I feel like topics like this need to be talked about a lot more than they are. I feel like a lot of the world is scared to talk about things, especially when it comes to like politics and stuff like that. It's not exactly like it's frowned upon from people. Most people genuinely just don't care what you have to say because they have their own thoughts and whatnot already. But sorry, let me turn this up. So it's okay. It doesn't work, I guess. But like, again, I could just keep going and going and going on this conversation, but I'm trying to like round it out a little bit. But companies have been doing this kind of thing for a long time. It is not okay. And I think the world is finally becoming like more aware of that more than ever now. And this has again been happening for like hundreds of years. You know, the whole like YouTube playbook on like thumbnails and stuff like that. Like the mentality of it and the way it was designed and the way that viewers come across content and stuff like that. Like that has been something that has been like in the world before the internet was even a thing. You know, the world has already mastered that craft for like hundreds of years, if not longer. That's how far back a lot of these things go. And I personally just think that like a lot of these companies they've had it good for too long, man. And we just keep allowing them to keep doing it. You know? If you were actually upset about stuff like this, you wouldn't support them anymore, like I did with Twitch last year. I finally, after like, I don't know, I want to say like 5+ years, started like growing steadily on Twitch because Twitch doesn't have like, there's no like recommendations section and stuff. You kind of just get lucky, or you bring people from other platforms over to Twitch. There's no like natural way to grow from Twitch. But after I learned about everything they've been doing and everything that they continue to get away with, I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to use Twitch anymore. And then I haven't. I've uninstalled Twitch. I haven't logged into my accounts for Twitch. I don't use Twitch anymore. I don't like talking about it. I don't like seeing it. I just don't use it. And I know for like the bigger content creators and stuff, it's like they can't just abandon a platform if they, is bringing in, money to pay their bills and they have like thousands of people coming in and whatnot. But at the same time, I think it's time that we sort of like stop forcing people to support bad companies, because like we're not helping the problem by being like, oh yeah, I see what Twitch is doing, but I'm just gonna keep using them regardless. Like I don't think that kind of mentality is gonna work in the end. I think the best thing we can physically do is just stop supporting this, And they're kind of forcing us into a position where we can't even afford things anyway. So like it's gonna happen eventually. It would just be better if that was by our own choice rather than being forced into that position. Especially when it comes to like the video game side of things. For a lot of us, again, it's an outlet rather. It helps us get through day-to-day life. Doesn't matter if you're playing for like a couple hours a week or a couple days a week, whatever it may be for you. But we all do it for like the same reasons usually. As a form of affordable entertainment, People making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year probably aren't playing video games for the most part, unless they have like a career making content, then maybe. But most of those people have entertainment in other avenues, They go on cruises for entertainment, It's just like I don't get it. I don't get the play here from companies anymore. I don't get it. It literally doesn't make any sense. And I think the worst part is when you really like look at the problem, like a chart of like inflation and stuff, but you compare the prices for everything else, it becomes very obvious what is happening, and it's like really unsettling, honestly. It really is. I don't know where you can find charts like that, but you can probably just find it on Google or whatever, but if you look at like the rate inflation is going up, it's like, oh, that's not great. It's just constantly just going up right now. But then you look at the price of like food, or to rent a home, or to pay gas for like your car and whatnot, and like tariffs, all that stuff happening. And they are like skyrocketing way above the rate that inflation's going up at. Like, if that's not concerning, I don't know what is. Like, if that doesn't bother you, nothing will kind of thing, you're just a badass. If that doesn't concern you in the slightest. I'm gonna repeat that real quick, okay? Inflation is indeed going up, but at like a pretty steady rate, The price of everything else is skyrocketing above inflation on how fast they are raising prices. All of these companies, all of these people saw that like, oh, everything's getting more expensive. Let's just turn that up to fucking 11. Because people are going to be panicking. Let's take advantage of that shit. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Actually, I know I don't run the world and I probably never could. But like, what the fuck are we doing? Genuinely. Like, this is not going to help anything at all. And, oh, it's okay. Some, like, minimum wage goes up a little bit here and there, Whatever. But, like, yeah, it goes up by, like, 25 cents. Maybe 30. At the rate inflation is going up, that's already not good. But the rate of everything else going above inflation is like 25 cents is going to make a fucking difference per hour. That doesn't matter. Now, if we start talking like $5, $10 increases, then yeah, that matters. And that's what should be happening. We need to balance this fucking shit out. And it's not happening. And companies are just thriving in it. Because we need to shit. We need to buy food. People need to fill up their cars to get anywhere. People need a roof over their head. And all of these people are taking advantage of that situation. Everything is expensive. Therefore, you are pressured into affording the first thing you see, especially if it's slightly cheaper than everything else. And it's messed up. It really is. We should not be paying as much as we are with how much inflation is going up. When you compare the two, it's night and day. It really is. And it's fucked up. Alright, I think that's literally it. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you for listening. Drop a like if you enjoyed and you want to see more videos where I just kind of talk, if you're into that sort of thing. And, just let me know in the comments. How do you feel about these situations? Do you feel the same way I do, where it's like, what's happening? How did it get this bad? How did we allow this to happen? Or are you just on the side of, man, that's life or whatever, and you're just accepting defeat, but you're still gonna keep paying for everything, even though everything's overpriced now? Let me know your thoughts. I'd like to know.